shortly after their return home from work. The incidents had added to the growing security concerns in the Iluabo and Ajegule areas of Ondo State. Residents recently staged a protest following a separate violent attack in the same vicinity where a woman was abducted and two other people were injured by gunmen who opened fire on residents during their returning to their homes. While the couple has been freed, security agencies in the state continue to face pressure to address the recent spike in local kidnappings. Local authorities have reiterated their commitment to intensifying patrols along the Akure-Owo axis and working with community leaders to improve early warning systems and rapid report to such distress calls. Moving on, the scheduled arraignment of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai over alleged unlawful phone interception of the National Security Advisor failed to proceed on Wednesday. The Department of State Services could not produce him for trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik adjourned the case until April the 23rd after being informed that the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission still retains the former governor in custody. El-Rufai was expected to face a 3-count charge related to threats to national unit security. The DSS alleges that El-Rufai admitted during a television interview to having knowledge of unlawful interception without reporting them. He is accused of compromising national security and violating multiple sections of the Cybercrimes and Nigerian Communication Act. In response, El-Rufai challenged the charges, arguing that the public remarks on TV cannot be treated as a legal confession. He also questioned the DSS legal authority and described the charges as defective and improperly framed. You're still watching the Midday News right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us in the studios to make sense of these stories and more is Darlington Agumo. Mr. Agumo is a lawyer and a political and public affairs analyst and commentator. A very good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for joining the conversation.
David, and how are you?
I'm fine, very well, thank you. How are you doing as well?
I'm okay.
All right. Also joining us virtually is former DSS Director Mike Ejiofor and the SA Youth Affairs to former Governor Gordon Obaseki of Edo State, Shedrack Odubai. Well, gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. Let me start off from Mr. Mike Ejiofor. Thank you for joining the conversation and good afternoon to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I don't know if, I beg your pardon, okay, I understand that Shedrack is not yet in the conversation. Well, let me start off from you, Mr. Mike Ejiofor. Looking at the security situation across Nigeria, first I want to start off with the situation in Ondo State. Now, there's been a reoccurrence of these incessant abduction in that state, and I understand that security forces are doing their best to making sure that respite gets to that part of the state. And I'm looking at the whole axis of the state where incessant abduction in worship centers have consistently been on. What's your... Well, I don't want to preempt you at this point, but what's your position with this consistent attacks in this part of the country?
It's quite unfortunate that when we take 2 steps forward, we'll have 2 steps backwards. You recall that when the Southwest formed the Amotekun, there seemed to be a respite, a downward trend in the attacks in that area. But we can see that there's migration of these bandits down south, not only to Ondo, Kwara, Kogi. Kogi has been the epicenter of this area. So people operating from Kogi are now moving into Ondo, and that's quite disturbing. You recall too that some of the people who carried the attack in Owo came from Kogi State. And so the proximity of the two states, in addition with the people migrating from the north, is responsible for these recent attacks. And it's quite unfortunate because I actually believe that the Amotekun in Ondo was actually doing very well, in terms of preventing the attacks. But I believe that as we move along in the interview, maybe I have to look at other areas of solution to the problem.
All right, then let me bring the conversation to the studio before I come back to you on some other security questions. As it stands, well, you heard Mr. Mike Ejiofor talking about the Amotekun. Again, the concerns about these individuals being brought to the fold to secure the environment in the name of local vigilantes who knows the forest, who knows the axis where some of these unscrupulous elements find their way. Do you think that they've done well enough, even though this attack are still concurrent and they keep happening in the face of all of the security apparatus being put in place?
They are not. The government is not doing enough because the primary purpose of any government is to protect life and property.
Right.
And so, how can they be doing well when for how many 15 years now? Nigerians don't sleep with their two eyes closed, especially the northern region. And so, they are not doing enough. In fact, they are growing bigger and bolder because government is paying ransom to them. And with that ransom, they buy more guns, more ammunition, more logistics to terrorize the people. So government is not doing enough.
It's interesting you mentioned the part of ransom payment. From your end, what do you think is the implication of paying ransom to terrorists who, again, are seen as negotiating with government officials?
The moment you pay ransom, you have emboldened them. They become bolder. They become more brazen. In fact, they see it as a very good business. And so they wouldn't want to stop. To make matters worse, the government have not mustered the political will to face this terrorism. That is why they even negotiate with them. Because you had the last time when Bayo said that they negotiated the release of some girls from Niger, that they spoke with them. And so because of that, they released them. But we have got to know just recently that the money was paid in billions. And so nobody will believe that the implication of paying this ransom is that this thing is not going to stop very soon. Just forget it, it's not going to stop very soon. And these guys are not going to drop this business.
Quite unfortunate, really, but we're hoping that the situation changes. But let me take the conversation to Mr. Mike again. I'm switching conversations now, and of course, talking about the recent resignation of Kayode Egbetokun, the IGP, former IGP, stepping down as the Nigerian Inspector General of Police. Well, of course, the presidency has confirmed his resignation as it stands, and basically, he cited family considerations, and of course, the president, as it stands as well, is looking at the Tunji Disu being appointed as the acting IGP. But of course, looking at this overview, some have laid the concern of the Constitution overriding seniority in the police appointment. What's your position with this, Mr. Mike?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that each time a new IG is appointed, we lose quality officers, especially when you take the appointment from the younger officers. Take, for instance, the AIG that has been made IG now.
Yes.
And that means that a lot of people, all the DIGs and the AIGs that this new IG is senior to, they have to go. That means they have to go, and that means waste of manpower, waste of resources in training all these officers, and we've lost quite a lot of them, not only in the police but in the armed forces, and especially in the armed forces. We've lost quite a lot, and it's not encouraging when we have serious challenges at hand. But for the appointment, I don't want to go into the merits or the demerits of the issue, whether the man resigned or not. What government told us is that the former IGP resigned. Whether he resigned on his own voluntarily or he was forced to resign, the fact remains that it's no more there. So let us look forward to the new IGP. He's quite a young man. I've had a few interactions with him, and I believe that he must also be prepared to bring the necessary changes and ensure that this war is won. But it's not won, but at least reduced to a tolerable level, because the police is the primary agency responsible for maintenance of law and order in the country. So we're looking up to the new police leadership and see the changes and reforms that he will bring to bear.
Well, again, the concerns about keeping position, I use those words loosely, is one that Nigerians are also talking about, because just like you rightly said, we're losing officers who, again, at the point where we need most of them and the experiences to tackle insecurity. But the fact that this present administration is not about the first that is doing this. You would also recall that the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, appointed the IGP in June 2016, bypassing at least 3 DIGs who were senior to him, including DIG Hilary Okpara, who of course later sued in that situation. Now, Buhari did rely on Section 2151A of the constitutional provision given to him to making that appointment. But the question now would be, what is the impact of this level of appointments, and of course making the other ones who are older to these particular AIG? What would they be doing afterwards? What's the impact of that?
From presidents, they have nothing to do. They will have to go, because they can't be reporting to the junior. But like you said, we also have precedents where some of the aggrieved DIGs, like you remember Moses Jitobo,
Yes.
went to court questioning his retirement from the police and asking but it ended up, unfortunately, he died before judgment was given. So it's left for the Police Service Commission and the new IG to determine whether the people will continue to remain. But morally and generally speaking, it doesn't promote discipline that somebody who has been reporting, you now turn back and start reporting to them.
All right then. Well, I'm still going to stay with you before I come to the studio. Let's talk about the institution. You just mentioned the police commission as, of course, nominating this person. I'm talking about Mr. Tunji Disu for the new IGP position. Is there the possibility that this is more like the presidency's body language clearly wanting a Tunji Disu ahead of others who are, again, his senior before that position?
Well, of course, you know that the Nigerian president is a very powerful president, one of the most powerful presidents in the world. And I don't see how the Police Service Commission or any other agency would challenge the president's choice. So it's considered that that appointment has to be ratified, because he can't go openly to challenge the president that he has no right to do. Of course, it's prerogative, although he has to work with the Police Service Commission to ensure the nomination. But once he has done the nomination, he has the powers to do all those things. I think it will be ratified.
All right, then. Let me bring this conversation back to the studio here. As it stands, do you also believe that the presidency, clearly, his body language is what is being read, and the Police Service Commission is clearly looking at the choice of Tunji Disu as a major candidate, which is going to serve the security concerns of the presidency when it comes to policing in Nigeria? Is that what you also think is happening here?
No power is absolute. At least he referred to some people after the appointment. The Senate still need to clear him. The Police Service Commission are on it. So no power is absolute. It's just that most times we create a monster out of a human being. No? So I don't think that the power to appoint, he may have it, but it is not total and absolute. Because if it were so, he wouldn't have referred him to Police Service Commission or the Senate for clearance. That is it.
Now, looking at this conversation, is there the possibility that bypassing senior GIGs would affect the morale of within the force?
Of course. That is the major casualty here. Those 29 people that will have to leave the force now, and then the morale of the officers. More so when his seniors in the DIG cadre are going to leave office, the 8 of them, including our own Frank Mba. So when all of them are leaving, they are not going to be happy, because ordinarily the position should have gone to any of the DIGs. But for reason best known to him, he decided to choose from an AIG. And instead of now answering to your junior, instead of now being presided over, of course, this is DIG, they had to go. Your fellow AIG may stay, yes, you are in the same cadre, even though there are seniority there. But definitely all the DIGs will go. And they are not going to be happy about it. Now,
I mentioned some antecedents earlier, and I'm still staying with you now. I mentioned some antecedents earlier of the former President Buhari. In fact, it spans to even the former president before him, and I'm talking about Goodluck Jonathan and even Olusegun Obasanjo, where does the Constitution override seniority in police appointments? Because Buhari also cited the Constitution as well in his appointment.
It is the prerogative to appoint anybody who he wishes can do the job. That is why you can't go to court over this. That is why they do it with so much impunity and arrogance. Because the Constitution gives them that right to appoint anybody whosoever without looking at rank or seniority, you know. And I would have said yes, it's good to appoint good hands who work with you.
Right.
But when it is not tainted with favoritism, tribalism and all that, then something is wrong somewhere. You know, the last one he appointed even elongated his tenure. Look at how he left office now. So what happened to the so-called Super Cup? What happened to the so-called good performance? You know, some of them, when your tenure is elongated like this, you end up in infamy. Because those who elevated you beyond your stay, they will be the one to bring you down. It would have been better if this man had gone initially, instead of this tenure elongation that brought him to this infamy. It's like after, you know, a glorious career, you now end up with infamy. I don't think the man would be happy. He would have been asking himself, why didn't I go? Why didn't I go? It's always like that.
All right, then. Well, let me go back to Mr. Frank. As it stands, the Police Act 2020 was specifically amended to require that the IGP be appointed from among 7 officers of appropriate rank rather than strictly the most senior ostensibly, of course, to allow merit-based selection. However, my question now to you would be, sir, should the Police Act be amended to clearly define succession when it comes to the leadership of the police?
It is clearly stated that the most senior should assume office. But again, that has a challenge. Suppose the most senior is not intelligent enough, even though he has risen through the ranks to get to that place. That also becomes a problem. We're now talking of competence, capacity, and capability. If he doesn't have these qualities, the force will suffer. So it still remains in the hands of the appointer, who is now the president, to appoint somebody whom he thinks he has confidence in, maybe for political reasons, or he has worked with the person before, or for any other reasons. So it's good you work with somebody you have confidence in and you have to work with. So I don't think there's any need for the amendment of the Constitution, but I think the way it is, it's also problematic, because when you look at the number of officers we are losing, as I said earlier, it becomes a major problem.
Now, still staying by those sentences you just read out now, what do you think is going to be the precedent after these kind of conversation about having to bring younger officers ahead of the senior ones to become the IGP? What precedents are we setting? Plus, what does the future hold when it comes to the service commission?
It's a very dangerous precedent, like I said when we started, because you lose quality officers in the process. As we speak, we are losing not less than 28 AIGs and DIGs who are senior to this new IG, and that's quite a lot. And due to political considerations, you prop up some people who don't even have the capacity to deal with the situation by promoting them to. I recall a situation where one commissioner, because of the zoning and geopolitical zone, one of the commissioners was promoted straight to DIG because there was no AIG from his zone. So it promotes incompetence, it promotes mediocrity, and that's the way we're going to do it. It has a lot of consequences, very adverse one.
All right, then. Well, I'm looking at the constitutional discretion of the president now, and some are saying that when it comes to the security apparatus of Nigeria, the president is the commander-in-chief, and he definitely has his discretional decision when it comes to appointments. But as concerning the commission and, of course, the constitution of the police, is there the possibility that there might be a tweak in the near future to help balance this lacuna, where we would not lose this high amount of AIGs who are deserving, and DIGs, I beg your pardon, who are deserving of getting to that position as well?
Well, it's only a mind reader that can say that. Life in itself is dynamic. So there's a possibility that the constitution can be tweaked. Nobody knows. It depends on the political climate and the political leadership at any given time. So there's a possibility. I can't rule it out. But like I said, the present situation has its own challenges too.
All right, then. Let me bring it back to the studio here. As it stands, I want to hear your position of this new AIG. A lot of persons have been saying, well, let's leave it to hope and faith, believing that he is being active in the Nigerian police force and, of course, should deliver more. But the part of favoritism, looking at the fact that the former IGP was once the commissioner under the now president, who was then the governor of Lagos State. Do you think favoritism is playing here again with the new AIG, of course, going into his position as the IGP?
Yeah, the way the appointment was made is tainted with favoritism, because there are senior officers and the man is about to retire. In fact, The one at Zone 2 was just promoted 2 days ago. And now he's going to a DIG. Eh? What kind of the man did not, in fact, he he was on the way to getting the certificate or something of a DIG before he was asked to go. Eh? It doesn't make sense. Whenever we are doing all these things, in fact, people should be very thoughtful whenever things like this are being done, because many people who are looking at this issue, they have taken into analysis the implication of retiring senior officer with their experience. And the insecurity we have today, we need experienced hands, tested hands. And now you are letting them go for no justifiable reason. It's not as if they committed any offense. It's not as if they are not competent. You just, you know, and the man will soon retire. I mean, Tunji Dishu will soon retire.
All right, then. Well,
so you mean you are going to now elongate his tenure? That is just the meaning. He will soon retire. If age is anything to go by, it will soon be 60 years. So what happened? You now retire him, Abi? No, that's not how to go about this thing.
Oh, well, let me go back to Mr. Mike while I wrap up this conversation. Like my analyst in the studio here did say, Mr. Tunji Disu, there's a possibility that he will also soon retire. But in the space of his engagement as the IGP, he definitely would serve his 4 year, isn't it?
That the constitution was amended and passed by the National Assembly.
Yes.
That even if it's 2 days to go or 3 days to go, I'm just telling you, for instance, once he's appointed, he's bound to serve his 4 years. That was exactly what happened with Egbetuku. You know, when people went to court that he was due for retirement, and then, you know, people were calling me legal IG, that he also went to court. And so that has been cleared. Once he's appointed, he has to serve out his 4 years.
All right, then. Well, I want to ask you on the part of the Police Trust Fund controversy. You would recall that it was established, of course, in 2019 to improve police welfare, but, of course, funding remained a problem. Does appointment like this politically bring about a distraction from structural funding issues affecting police effectiveness?
Well, the greatest challenge facing not just the police, but all the security agencies is inadequate funding. If we like, go and bring somebody who is a magician under the present circumstance, he's not going to succeed unless and until the funds are changed. Yes, we agree they made budgetary allocation like this year. We have the largest of last year, the largest budgetary allocation. But what percentage of that budget is released or being implemented? That's the challenge you have. So it's also on the paper that we have allocated 6 trillion or 6 into the security without releasing commensurately the funds for the people to operate it. So that's a problem.
Huge question there. How much of that particular fund is being released? And that, again, is one conversation that I don't think is going to leave us anytime soon, because a minister under this administration also did say that the budget was budgeted for them in their ministry, and a very paltry amount of it was released. But because of our time, this is where we have to draw anchor on the analysis segment of the midday news. I want to say a big thank you to you, former DSS Director Mike Ejiofor, for joining the conversation this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Also, thank you so very much, Mr. Darlington Agomo, lawyer and public affairs analyst as well. Thank you so very much for being here. We'll take a very short break right now. When we return, Lagos Airport reopens after fire incidents, 3 flights diverted. These and more when we return after this break. Please do stay with us. Glad to have you back. It is still the Midday News right here in Voice of the People Television. Now to more stories. Adamawa State Police have arrested 2 suspects in connection with a major tramadol smuggling operation. Officers recovered 197 sachets of the drug during a border patrol operation. The suspect, identified as Mohammed Mustafa from Kano and Mohammed Sanusi from Cameroon, were intercepted by the forfeiture unit. Authorities say the drugs were being transported from a southeastern state to Cameroon. The Commissioner of Police commended the vigilance and professionalism of the operatives involved. He directed the monitoring units to take over the case for further investigation. Adamawa Police say they remain committed to combating drug-related crimes in the state. This follows recent successes by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in seizing large narcotics consignments. In another development, Nigeria has been urged to translate research into action to create an environment where science and technology can thrive and drive sustainable development. The call was a key focus at the Nigerian European Union Science and Innovation Summit in Lagos, where policymakers, researchers, and industry leaders explored ways to strengthen innovation and partnership for growth. Our correspondent Matthew Goswada has more in this report.
Nigeria European Union Science and Innovation Day Summit are policymakers, researchers, industry leaders, and development partners, all exploring how innovation can drive sustainable growth and development across key sectors.
We believe in the great potential of a partnership to upscale these capabilities and boost innovation to the benefit of both sides and global science as a whole.
At the summit, stakeholders emphasized the importance of effective partnerships, knowledge exchange, and increased investment in innovation ecosystems to accelerate development outcomes, particularly in advancing industrial growth and research collaboration.
African Union European Union Innovation Agenda is a policy initiative that is now under implementation, was politically adopted in 2023, and it will be implemented until 2033. The essence of it is trying to foster a more effective translation of research and innovation into more products, services, businesses, and job opportunities in both Africa and Europe.
Science, research, and innovation are not merely academic pursuits. They are critical drivers of economic growth, sustainable development, and social transformation.
Private sector collaborations, we really must ensure that funding is flowing where it's needed most.
We have a lot of researchers who've done a lot of work, and those outcomes are sitting on shelves, and those problems are still there. So instead of us shopping around the world for solutions, can we dust what is on the shelf and begin to see how we can use them to address the challenges that we face?
There's so many ways to be involved in STEM. You don't have to didactically go to a school and say, I want to study STEM. There's so many ways, from the TVET part of it, but we should all be open and broad-minded and willing to learn and also give our part. You can be a person in your house learning how to use some tools to make a machine and things like that. So explore and, identify ways in which you can also give back to Nigeria, not just waiting for the ministry to give back to you.
Participants also highlighted the role of science, technology, and digital inclusion as critical drivers for the future, especially within Africa's rapidly evolving innovation landscape.
It's high time for us to really key into more of implementation. The current government is doing a lot of work to make sure that we go from planning to actually implementing. So with what the EU is currently doing, we're trying to create an ecosystem where everyone can come together, matchmake themselves, and get to doing real projects.
It's been eye-opening listening to other high-level conversations about research, innovation, and how collaboration needs to exist within the continent and even beyond the continent to foster knowledge, to foster innovation, to foster growth within and outside Africa.
While the summit provided a platform for networking and dialogue, conversations here underscored that innovation is no longer optional, but essential for national development. Stakeholders agree that stronger Nigeria-European Union partnerships will be key to achieving sustainable economic growth and prosperity. Matthew Okunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Thank you so very much, Marty, for that report. Moving on to other stories, the South-South Governors Forum has welcomed President Tinubu's executive order mandating all oil and gas revenues be paid directly into the Federation account. It described it as a historic step towards fiscal justice and transparency in the petroleum sector. Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri, who chaired the forum, said the decision will eliminate opaque deductions and ensure states and local governments receive their rightful entitlements. The move is expected to strengthen funding for infrastructure, healthcare, and education across the 3 tiers of government. The governors also urged a review of the Petroleum Industrial Act, particularly provisions limiting states and local councils from administering funds due to host communities. They argued that involving local authorities directly would prevent future disputes and reduce tensions in oil-producing regions. The forum expressed confidence that the executive order reflects a president who listens and prioritizes citizens' interests. They pledged continued engagement with the federal government to ensure reforms are effectively implemented. And from that story, we move straight to talking business. The Central Bank of Nigeria has reduced its benchmark interest rate by 50 basis points to 26.5%. Governor Laimi Cardoso said the move aims to support the ongoing disinflation trajectory and maintain exchange rate stability. The CBN also kept the cash reserve requirements unchanged and retained the standing facilities corridor. These measures are intended to reinforce the resilience of the banking sector. Cardoso highlights that Nigeria's external reserve have hit $50.4 billion, the highest in 13 years. This level is enough to finance imports for over 9 months and strengthen investor confidence. The CBN also noted that 20 banks have met the new minimum recapitalization threshold, mobilizing over 4 trillion naira. The governor cautioned the election-related spending could disrupt progress and urge fiscal authorities to act responsibly. And from business, we move straight to sports, where FIFA's President Gianni Infantino says he is very reassured about Mexico's readiness to host the upcoming World Cup. His comment comes after recent violence triggered by the killing of a drug cartel leader in Guadalajara. At least 74 persons died during the operations and subsequent clashes, leaving residents and tourists scrambling for safety. Despite the arrest, Infantino insists the tournament will go ahead and be spectacular. Mexico will host 4 group stage matches in Guadalajara alongside games in Mexico City and Monterrey. Authorities and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum have assured that fans' safety is not at risk. Some international teams, however, remain cautious, closely monitoring the situation. Meanwhile, businesses like Honda have temporarily suspended operations in Guadalajara to assess security conditions. And from sports, we move straight to the world of entertainment. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons is facing public criticism over how it handles high-profile cases. Nigerians are debating the agency's approach to allegations against singers Simi and Speed Darlington. While Speed Darlington was declared wanted last year after a self-indictment statement, NAPTIP has remained silent on allegations resurfacing against Simi. Many feel this suggests a selective approach to justice. Critics argue the agency is applying its enforcement differently based on gender, with men receiving swift actions while women are treated more leniently. Social media has amplified this debate, with users calling out previous and perceived double standards. NAPTIP insists it is committed to investigating all credible claims and urges the public to provide factual evidence. The agency, however, has avoided naming any specific individuals, foiling further controversy. And with that entertainment story, we've come to the end of the midday news right here on Voice of the People Television. Do also subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Thank you so very much for being a part of this broadcast. I am David Edwin. You have a good afternoon.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Okpebholo. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please the sport.
In a world where power shakes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage, as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The people's voice. Make your voice count. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Welcome, beautiful people, to the show Spotlight. Yes, this is happening here on VOP TV, the place where stories come alive and voices matter. This is the show where we shine the light on creativity, culture, style, music, and purpose-driven people who are shaping the world around us. And yes, I'm sure you've not forgotten that I'm your special baby girl, Precious Agmanu, aka Call Me Prezi. And today is another day to talk about beautiful things that are happening around you. And yes, it's a day to stay inspired, grounded, because we are bringing you exciting blend of gist. And yes, it's always happening here on the Spotlight Show. Yes, and first of I know that the week has been a roller coaster for each one of us, but then we have to stand regardless. And yes, this is where we talk about a lot of things. And first off on our list today, we are talking about our music minister, and his name is Moses Bliss. And guess what? What recently happened? Yeah. Recently, Moses Bliss celebrated his birthday, and trust me, it was just beautiful to see that his wife, put out a surprise for him. Beautiful surprise. So let's say this. And yes, popular gospel singer Moses Bliss was recently treated to a heartwarming surprise birthday celebration organized by his wife, Mary Bliss, in Dubai. The intimate event, which featured a praise worship section, was carefully planned to honor the singer's special day in a way that reflects his deep Christian faith. So videos on social media captured the emotional moment the singer walked into the beautiful arranged venue, visibly overwhelmed by the thoughtful gesture. So yes, the celebration has since drawn admiration from fans and well-wishers online, many praising Mary for the meaningful surprise and applauding the couple's public display of love and devotion. And see, let's talk about where there's this love. Seriously. And Christian marriage is still they exist. For you, when they believe in relationship and marriage, I'm serious. This is really an example of beautiful love. Yes. Who no go smile for this kind surprise when you don't come back? See, not only the Odogus that they surprise. If you be Odogu, they go surprise you. And it's actually beautiful that Moses Bliss is celebrating another beautiful birthday and a beautiful year, another year to see God's goodness in his life. It's actually beautiful. And yes, a lot of fans have actually come out to talk things and say things about Moses Bliss. And yes, a lot of people are so happy and congratulating Moses Bliss for another year. So yes, let's take some comments and see what people have actually come out to say. And somebody said, I love everything about this surprise. Such an international and thoughtful wifey. Intentional and thoughtful wifey. I told you, see, when somebody loves you, that person has to be very intentional about you. Yes. Because at the beg, anybody when no like you and still they tell you, say, oh, when they intimidate you for inside the relationship, run, no, because trust me, beautiful marriages still exist. Lovely marriages still exist. Yes. But they don't deceive you. May you go say, oh, because of saying carry my pikin and I want the day inside the relationship where they beat you. Be careful, oh. All right, let's take more comments and see what people are still saying about Moses Bliss. And a lot of people are saying congratulations to him and a happy birthday. And yes, we have a lot of comments. And King OD Best said, my wife must be rich. This is wonderful. Abio. And another person said, at goosebumps. Why are you having goosebumps? Anyway, you have to, because when you see beautiful things, you always be excited. And Victory said, we know how to make the men in our lives feel so special and loved. I've started with my dad and brother. Oh, see, it's all about, sometimes it's all about the family too. You get what I'm trying to say? In as much as you're showing your husband or your wife, also extend it to your family, extend it to your brothers, extend it to your siblings. It's actually beautiful, celebrating someone is good. And yes, Awesome Soul said the background laughter is everything. This is so beautiful of you, Mrs. Bliss. I'm keeping notes. God knows when. And Jessica said, one of the best gifts in life is to have someone thoughtful and intentional. This is beautiful to see. Yes. And Victory said, make sure, Mary, you sure ate that and left no crumbs. Thumbs up and take your flowers. I have watched it multiple times today. You are both amazing and so much fun to watch God be with you, with both of you and your son. See, let's talk about the fact that this is actually beautiful. Someone that is really intentional about you. And yes, when we are talking about Mrs. Bliss, we are not joking, because even when they met, you know, remember the time when Mrs. Bliss came out to say, oh, see the way I met my wife. See, they are beautiful things. Not me saying make you go the dance online. Now you go meet, but who knows? If you the dance online, if you meet your own. If you the dance, go meet another person will not be your own. But God will help you. It's another time to know that love really exists, and beautiful one of that. So yes, if you're, you know, hoping to get your own love, hoping to be loved, hoping to meet your own spouse, meet your own missing rib, meet your own husband, definitely it will come to you. But shall know waiting you they go date this year. I don't they talk since this is we're going to almost the quarter half of the year. So shall know waiting you they do this year. You have to be very intentional. Yes, when I talk about intentionality, both intentional in what you're doing, intentional in your decision. Yes, it is very, very important. All right, let's take more comments. A lot of people are still talking about this, and we have a lot of comments, and people are saying, so thoughtful of you at Mrs. Bliss. And yes, somebody else said, MJ Obu said, you're most welcome at Mary Bliss Official. You're indeed a woman of faith, because your faith pulled this off. And thank you for loving my brother the way you do with all of your being. God bless you. And Festies said, so beautiful. And Evangeline said, thank you, Madam Felicia Wiseborn and Pastor, for raising such a thoughtful and God-fearing daughter. COP all the way. All right. And we have another person saying, daughter of. And lady said, wives who surprise their husbands on their birthday. Give it up for them. You get what I'm trying to say? See, make I tell you something. It's not about, see, a lot of men go through a lot of things. Let me tell you.